playing for Southland. To Waka with a dummy. Beautiful stuff from Bodine Waka. Chips it for himself. It sits up. It's still going. Flicked in field. It's Champagne Rugby from the Free Jacks. Diving in is Liam Steele. And they'll be celebrating that one in the Cheers Bar in Boston.
Hello and welcome to Coach's Corner. I'm Dallin Stanford, World Rugby and Major League Rugby commentator. And alongside me is New England Free Jacks head coach Ryan Martin. Firstly, my friend, what's it like having your own weekly show?
It's brilliant. It's cool to get the voice out to the masses.
Well, listen, we're really happy to have you here. But before we crack on, we hadn't seen a single tweet from you on social media on Twitter in 20 years. But this year you've been chopping it like a lumberjack. What's going on there?
Well, we had a coach's getaway up at Mags's house. And what I took from that was about building a profile out in the virtual world. So thanks to Mag's advice, I've gone onto Twitter world and I've actually been really enjoying it. It's great to kind of interact with a variety of people from all around the world, and they can kind of see my thoughts and the stuff I've been putting out. And I think they've been enjoying it so far. So it's been pretty cool.
No, we've been loving it. You know, people can follow you at Coach Ryan Martin, which is a vast improvement. Last time we spoke on the live show, your typing skills were, somewhat to be desired. So this really is something new for us.
Yeah, no, thank you very much.
Well, listen, one thing you need to do, though, there's a photo of you, which is great in your coaching kit. The background photo, you can also put something up there. You can put up like a schedule for the season. You can put up your stash. You can do, there's stuff we could work with you on.
No, I'm pumped about that. I'm still developing all this. So it's going to be exciting time to hear.
Coach, you're a good sport. Okay, so hang on. There's one thing. Hold on, I forgot. So you followed back, all the Free Jacks players, which is great, But there's one player, Evan Geist. Are you scared of the poltergeist? Is that why? Because I know his singing is frightening.
No, he's a little bit of an oxymoron, actually. He's very quiet in nature, but obviously he's got a little bit of darkness in him that you can see in some of the things he enjoys. So just still trying to work him out. Yeah,
Sam. Okay, well, let's kick it off, my friend. How are you finding Boston? You obviously moved across recently. How are things going there?
No, I'm really enjoying it. It's a fantastic city. It's really easy to get around. Living in Melbourne and then coming here, I felt Melbourne's a little bit more hustle bustle, and whereas Boston's a little bit more laid back. And I suppose I've been really surprised around the amount of rugby people over here who I went and did my social security number appointment, and the security guard was a Free Jacks fan. So I've actually come across quite a few people just randomly who enjoy rugby and know what the Free Jacks are. So pleasantly surprised at the moment.
Oh, that's so great to see, And then the history here with all the historic colleges and stuff like that play rugby, that's brilliant as well. All right, pal, let's talk preseason, right? So, how does it compare to previous ones? Obviously, given that, you don't have great weather like folks in the West Coast, California do, and you've had limitations due to the pandemic.
I think our facilities, like the Forge, where we do our gym units, is phenomenal. And it's probably a blessing in disguise because you're indoors and in quite an intimate environment. It means you have to think outside the square around how do you get, really good drills and skills into the players with a limited space. And I've actually enjoyed that aspect. It's extended my thinking around that. And then obviously we've got that brilliant resource down at Union Point where you go down there and it's all nice and warm. I've never seen anything like it, just the setup. It's been phenomenal. The only thing is obviously with the artificial turf, there's a lot more grass burns as such on the players, but other than that, I actually can't fault it. I've been really impressed.
Yeah, that's great. I know I saw some photos of the guys in New York digging out their field to kind of get the training, but the indoor facilities are amazing, particularly this time of year. You need them, So as a whole, what sort of positives have you seen from the new group that make up your Free Jacks?
Oh, there's a fantastic story, to be honest, and it's based around Spencer Kruger, who obviously has come in from the middle of America. And what I like about it is Spencer's actually working in a warehouse over here to make ends meet so that he can be full part of our program. And there's a couple of times when training would finish and Spencer would have to quickly finish training and get into his work clothes and drive off to the north of Boston and work in a warehouse. And for me, it's a great story, and I've got a lot of time for players who are got to do that to make ends meet, because it means that they really value the time in the program. So I was pretty pumped around that. And obviously, I've been really impressed with Justin Johnson. Obviously, we picked him up in the draft, and he's a real anomaly. He's got a fantastic physique, very athletic, can play multiple positions. but he's actually a very deep thinker, which I've found having one-on-one time with him. He's an avid reader. Before our team meetings in the morning, he'll be sitting in the corner with the Normatec on his legs, reading a book. It's a fantastic. He's just got such a deep thinking around him, and I've been really impressed with him, to be honest.
All right, Coach. So preseason, of course, extremely important to get that game time, So give us an update on what you had planned on the cards and what sort of workarounds you have coming up before you guys kick off very soon.
Yeah, so it's to be honest, it's very limited. Rooney pulled out of a scenario-based session where they were going to come up here just due to COVID concerns and obviously numbers that they were struggling with at the time. And then we had our own little COVID scare, but our systems kind of shut it down pretty quickly. So we didn't want to put anyone at risk the week leading into the DC, so we had to cancel that match. So we're thinking outside the square how it looks. We've got the ability to have a teens tournament and inter-squad teens tournament, which will be pretty exciting. We'll probably look to do that next week. But to be honest, our trainings are very full on. I think it's a testament to the players, the intent that they're training with. I remember one session last week, there are 3 blood-stained balls. And for me, that's a good sign that guys are putting their bodies on the line. I think Danny Collins, for a session, he picked up 11 stitches across the eyebrow, which is just a welcome to the program. So we're pretty excited around the intent the boys are bringing. And yes, we may be a little bit underdone in terms of true match play, but what the fans are going to see is immense intent, and we'll just give it everything we've got.
Yeah, and then speaking of the players' shape, obviously we've had COVID, the world's been shut down. Some players have been playing, some hadn't. So what sort of shape would you say your squad is in? Is it work in progress, or are you pleasantly surprised? Or there are a couple of players that you've given some extra sessions to?
No, pleasantly surprised, to be honest. I think in the world of rugby, players are very respectful of what I call the money maker, which is their body. So a lot of them have turned up in really good physical condition. Probably the only issue with COVID is around the contact conditioning. So we've had to be savvy how we do that in our training sessions to make sure players are getting those contacts, so they're getting the confidence around the collisions that they're going to take part in. So, to sum it up, I've been really pleasantly surprised, and I think Jared, S&C coach, has been doing a fantastic job with preparing the players. It's world class, the systems he's delivering from what I've seen, and I know New Zealand and Australia would be very envious of some of the stuff that he does in his gym. So yeah, it's been great. Yeah,
that's excellent to hear. And let's touch on your fresh squad. Do you mind running through, the pack, comments on some of the players and things you like about them, you've been impressed by, excited to see, coming up in this season 4?
Yeah, I think to put it pretty simply, as I mentioned, like Spencer, for me, he could definitely play confidently at this level. He's got a great attitude, great work ethic, and as I mentioned, his off-field mentality is phenomenal. Obviously, we've got big Eric Dejaga. He's just in a quarantine period at the moment, so he gets out on the weekend. So he's like a big bear stuck in a cage getting poked with a stick. So when we open that, she could be pretty interesting. And I've been really impressed with Peter Johnson, our hooker. He's a true gentleman of the game. He's very worldly. He's played at a very high level. And my goal is to get him playing internationally for South Africa, which I don't think is too far-fetched for that to happen. And we've been pretty excited around Seth Whakaasi coming into the program. He's a prop who can play tight head and loose head, but he's got the skill set of a midfield back. So don't be surprised to see some great cat flap offloads coming down the middle of the channel when that man's carrying the ball.
Yeah, jeebus, we can't wait, And speaking of the players that can carry, what about the backs?
Yeah, so in the backs, I've been really impressed with Bodine Walker. He had a great Mitre Cup season in New Zealand. He's come over here. I've nicknamed him the wise old owl. He's an old man. He's almost the Benjamin Button of rugby. He seems to be getting younger in body but older in mind, so it's a great story. And then I've been really impressed with Mitch Wilson. We call him the matron. He's taken on a role of looking after the 13 players in Mass Ave who all live together. So he's been great off-field with making sure the players are keeping to the strict protocols in the Mass Ave house. Hence his name, the matron. But no, he's got a great skill set. He's electric. I think if you give him a little bit of time and space, we're going to see some special things. And lastly, the big red ghost, Harrison Boyle. He's an amazing story. It's great to have a young fellow of 20 years of age come over and see the MLR as a competition where he can get better and launch himself into Super Rugby or play internationally for the USA, obviously. So that's kind of the players you want coming to the competition. You don't want old men coming over and clipping a ticket and signing off on their careers. You want young fellas who are aspirational, which is exactly what Harrison is. I think the quarantine period for him has been great. He's put on about 8 kgs, so I think he's sitting at about 105 kgs. which maybe is 230 pounds in American talk. And he sits at about 6'3" as a first five. So he's going to be very daunting for any defenses when he's got the ball in hand. So in terms of that, we're pretty excited. We've also got the excitement package, Aliki Morris, who arrived last week, and he's got into his work straight away. And I think the players are quite mesmerised around how electric he is and his skill sets. And he does everything with intent. I think we're looking pretty good.
Yeah, it's always an interesting dynamic to bring in players, obviously from all over the world, different cultures, different playing styles, and let them mesh together. And of course, that's where your role. I love the nicknames. We're going to be using them in the comms. So speak to you afterwards about some more of them, which is great. But let's tee this up, right? So March 20th, cliffhanger, your first MR fixture as head coach, Free Jacks 2021 first game. You travel all the way to California. You face the expansion franchise, the LA Guiltinis, who have signed people left, right, and center. And you're playing in the historic Coliseum Stadium. Can you tee up that preview for us?
Oh, what an amazing story that is. As you just said, potentially the team with the most kind of talent as such. They've been sunbathing in Hawaii in their preparation, whereas we've been working our tutus off in the cold in Boston, scrapping away. So I think it's pretty clear, like the intentions that we have to go into that game with. We're the pure underdog, and we've got a few surprises for LA. We're not going to be laying down for anyone. So that's the attitude we've been training with. And we're very excited to obviously play in the Coliseum. That's like its own little bit of history that we can tie ourselves to. And I suppose from our perspective, we just want to put a performance out that we're proud of as a team, and that our supporters can see that we're the real deal. And if people go away thinking, wow, I want to be part of that and jump in on that program and want to support what we see there, young fellas working hard, then I think we've done the job.
A classic East Coast, West Coast story unfolding before us. And then a final word to the New England supporters. You mentioned you've run into a few already. Something for them before you hit the road for round one. Yeah,
as I mentioned earlier in the interview, what a fantastic city you can be in, where you come across rugby supporters left, right and centre. And I think what the Free Jacks can do is galvanise that and give them something to look forward to and be excited around the way we're going to play the game. And we're going to be in the community as much as we can. Obviously, we're in a bubble, but we want to be out and about, and people kind of know us and see us. And one of the first things I did when I got over here is went to some club trainings and made sure people knew there's true pathways. So I'd like to think that we're a very local team where people can get on board and see something pretty special from a startup business mentality. So yeah, I just hope they're looking forward to our games, and we'll be proud of what we put out for them.
Awesome, Coach. They can visit freejacks.com. They can check the schedule, get tickets for the home games, and then, of course, see where they can watch it live and get some sensational merchandise. Well, Mata, all the best that side. Enjoy the red carpet treatment in Hollywood, and please say hello to Springbok captain Matt Damon for me when you see him.
Thank you very much. Will do.
Let's ride.
Let's ride.